Well, today's program is so important, and I'm so grateful to each of you. You're here presenting with me, co-presenters, because today's topic is all about how to ask and get what you need to succeed. And I will just fully admit, I'm Kathleen Caldwell, founder of this marvelous council with each of you. And I'm a speaker and author, a coach, consultant, a lover of all things ballroom dancing with my beloved husband, Michael Caldwell. My asking muscle has not been very strong. So today's topic is so important. And don't we all share and teach and present with what we need to know, right? Okay. So very quickly, want to just jump right in and share with you that our programs, as you know, have been absolutely fantastic. We have a new corporate coaching and consulting roundtable. You could watch the replays of that. Our last wonderful mixer gathering, C3 gathering, Connect, Collaborate, and Captivate. That recording is on our YouTube channel, and you can watch that, as well as our most recent interactive gathering featuring Sheila Anderson and Carol Kammerer, and reignite your style confidence. It was absolutely fantastic and elevating your brand. So you can watch and enjoy each of these on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is growing. So each of you, we get to get more leverage, more exposure, more promotion for you as our esteemed faculty. And of course, a little throwback to some of our earlier programs this year. Deb Creer, thank you very much. Oh my goodness. Honestly, your program is at the top of the views, the number of views in our YouTube channel. So we're very excited about that. And of course, Kathy Dirksen talking about how to maximize your impact as an international best-selling speaker. And so we've got great things going on. We're doing fine work, sisters. And I would like to just pause for a moment and give a big, gracious welcome to our newest esteemed faculty member, Sonia Ginchet. Sonia is an incredible consultant, coach, business leader, thought leader. She's bringing us to new levels, sisters, and we're so excited to welcome Sonia into our council. She is the founder of SEMA Executive Development. Be sure to connect with Sonia on LinkedIn, of course. And of course, Sonia is the author of this marvelous book. Mine is in shipment on the way from Amazon. I just ordered it this past week, The Integrative Leader. And so I'd like to pause, turn the podium over to you, Sonia, to introduce yourself and maybe a little bit about why you thought that the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council, as esteemed faculty, why it's important to you. And, not to put you on the spot or anything, but we want to know more so we can connect with you. So I'll pause a moment and turn the podium over to you, Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, just a few tips about myself. First of all, I was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia, so I am bilingual in Spanish and English, and have had the good fortune to live in America for the last 45 years. And I started my career in technology as an executive in business development and strategy, and got frustrated after about 16 years and realized I needed to do something else, but wasn't sure what. Ended up discovering that there was a career called executive coaching, and it has been my calling. I have been doing it since 1998, and I love it. And I'm grateful that I found something that is so rewarding. As part of that, I obviously coached a lot of leaders in a variety of different industries, a variety of different situations. And I realized that it was interesting to see how they actually taught. Were they in areas where were more left brain, like engineering and technology? Were they more right brain, like in marketing? I work with a lot of companies in the entertainment business. And so I had used a model, an assessment that looked at the brain, just for the left and the right brain. And I always thought, but no, it really matters to be whole brain thinkers. It really matters for us to integrate everything and actually use all our leverage to great return on everything from relationships to situational awareness to everything. So when COVID hit, I actually had the opportunity to write the book in 2020, and it was published in 2021. And I used examples of real life leaders that I worked with, and I've had a lot of good responses for that. So I'm excited to be part of this. So I was sharing earlier in the very first introduction is as an executive coach, when you first start out, you're primarily coaching men because those are the people that are sitting in the senior level roles. And what I have been so encouraged about is for the last 5 or 10 years, I have seen a much bigger growth for women. And I would say where it started maybe at 5%, now I see it at about 30%. And I see an actual effort being made. And I think we're making a difference. And so to be part of this group made a lot of sense to me.
Oh, Sonia, thank you. Thank you. We're welcoming you in as esteemed faculty. We can't wait to host you, showcase you, and highlight you in one of our upcoming programs. So thank you very much. Yeah, very nice. Thank you. Welcome. Ladies, we are raising our game with each of you and with the fabulous coaches and consultants that we're adding to our business sisterhood, as I say. So thank you very much, Sonia. Thank you. Good. And we'll want to highlight your book as well and give you a new platform along with C-Suite Network for this. So good. Thank you. So let's move into asking. Okay. I have been thinking about this and honestly dreaming about this for a very long time, about how to ask more. And I'm just curious for each of you, if you would say on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the most, zero is the least, how strong is your ability to ask for what you need? Ask for what you need. Yeah.
Yeah, about a
5,
5.
6, about a 5, 6. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so I have I have a quick little exercise I want to share with you and really talk about how we take it to another level of asking. And I'm just curious, you can see the definition here, that, it's just really very, very simple. The definition of ask. What I also noted is that it's a verb, ladies. It's a verb. It's a doing word. It's not a contemplating, word. It's not a noun, it's a verb. And so getting to action on to call on for an answer, to make a request of, to put a question to inquire, or to request information. That's all asking is. It's not complicated, but I think that we have made it more complicated. I know that I have. And so I'd like to ask a curious question, and then I'm going to pause and come over to you. And let's think about something that you need. Gosh, even that word is a loaded word, isn't it? Need. Yes. Something that you need, you want, you desire. Something in your life that, maybe it's as simple as, hey, I'd like to have more testimonials from my clients, or I'd like to have more referrals from my past clients or my current clients or my business partners or women in the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. I'd like to have more business. I'd like to have more business with my ideal client. I'd like to have more sponsors, more partners. I'd like to have less fill in the blank. Okay. So I'd like for us to stop and pause and think, what is it that you would like? And again, to the degree you feel comfortable sharing, and it could be just something, hey, I'd like to have more business, or I'd like to grow my company. I'd like to have more VIP clients or more groups or whatever it is. And I'm curious, even that basic question, what do I want? How easy is that for us to ask, ask ourselves, right? Yeah. Thoughts about this. What is it that you want? Because that's what I think asking starts with as a first thing is, what do I want? Jumping
More.
in. Yep. Susan,
More.
more. I love
More.
it. More free time, more resources, more fun, right?
More.
More. Oh, gosh, I love that. That's so you. Thank you. More. M-O-R-E. Yes, it is a 4-letter word, right? Okay, good, great, good. Susan, jumping in. What do you want? What do you want?
It's funny because you can think of a zillion things you want, and at the same time, at what cost becomes part of the question for me, because I'm constantly looking at where is the give in what I'm doing. Have I chosen something that, oh wait, if I want that, I need to let go of this. It is it is simply not a question of what do I want, but how do I how do I ask for it and then respectfully deal with the answer that comes, because sometimes it feels like I know the answer and I'm not doing it already. So how dare I? How dare I tell somebody I need something that the answer is obvious and I'm not dealing with it correctly, or I've allowed other things to step into. I mean, I was literally the last 3 days at an event that was not necessarily mine, was not necessarily something I absolutely had to go to, and yet felt there would be something gained from going. There were opportunities to explore. I'm glad I went. It means that Thursday feels like Monday, and where I thought I would have time to sort through things, I literally just got dressed 5 minutes before this call because of all the excuse that the wind just blew something over and set the dogs off. Uh, the 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 time I thought I would have to focus on something this morning, requests were coming in about somebody being in town. I literally had 2 people identify the fact that they'll be in town today, tomorrow, and Saturday, and my schedule has now filled with things I am gloriously excited about doing. And yet, when I think about your question of what do I want, not one of these would have been my first ask.
Yes, yes, yes.
So there be my dilemma.
Yeah, yes. So sometimes the more has it's there's more attached to it, right? Yeah, there's more for sure. Yeah, yes, yes. Sonia, your point of view. Thank you, Susan. And as esteemed faculty, Susan, we know you always bring your fabulous point of view, and you as well, Deb. So thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
And
Sonia,
listening,
your thoughts. Yeah, please.
listening to Susan, I thought about the fact that as women, we tend to always figure out that we need to have put something into the mix before we can ask. Where men don't do that. We were like, what are we sharing or what are we contributing or have I earned the right to be able to ask for this? And I find that it's an interesting way that we limit ourselves sometimes. I do it too. I'm not alone in that. I guess right now, what I would really like is I do want some more referrals and I do want some more clients, but I'm very specific now about my ask. And I'm going to be very candid here because I feel like I can share this. I have worked with a lot of companies that are Fortune 50, 100 companies, and I'm concerned about the culture. I think there's a lot of toxicity in the cultures of companies. And I have found that in working with smaller organizations, they seem to have, if you will, a greater pulse and a greater responsiveness to creating a culture that's really healthy and really helps everybody in the organization. I got to work with one of those companies over the course of the last 5 years. They were acquired by a global company 3 years ago, and they are still trying to keep on to that culture. And I think to myself, I'd like 2 or 3 more clients like that, where you can really make an impact. You can see it. There's people that are now getting coaching that probably would have never been part of that, but they're really becoming whole beings, is the way I see it. So that's what I'd like.
Fantastic. And Sonia, I acknowledge you for being so clear about what you want. I think that that is really such a great first step. And Susan, I want to also point out, and Sheila, feel free, jump in. We want to make sure that your voice gets in the conversation too, about bringing up the but part of this. It's like, okay, more, and this is where I'm going next. So yeah, thank you. Very nice. Yes, great.
So for
Please.
so for me, when I look at making an ask, I I look at what do I want and what do I need, but I direct it at who can provide that. And it's very easy to wait for you to do something for somebody else. It's very easy to be uncomfortable and sit back and say, okay, I'm not going to ask for what I need because it's not, it's not comfortable. It's not what people do, especially in business, to be vulnerable and to make an ask. So I will tell you that a handful of years ago, I was really struggling with my business for some unique reasons. And I reached out to 5 people in my network and made my ask. And my ask was for opportunities. And out of the 5 people, I ended up with 10 opportunities and closed 3 pieces of large business that have equated to about $8 million in business. So
Wow.
what I've found is ask for what you need and be open, honest, vulnerable, whatever you need to with that inner circle of people you work with and those trusted partners, because when you do, amazing things happen.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That is right.
Fantastic. Yes. And don't we love, Sheila, you just get to the bottom line of things. I think we could just probably do a mic drop right now and just be done. I'll go out a little early to lunch or something. So yes, thank you. Yes,
I want to share something based on what Sheila
please.
said. I'm wearing a little pendant. Sheila, you probably can't see it, but it's sort of in a circle. It's in an image of a circle kind of thing. And it was when I first started coaching, I ended up working with these 2 women that had just launched a company that was called Own the Power. And this was their symbol for, being able to own the power. And so I tend to wear it whenever I think I got to get into my power place. And I was listening to Sheila going, okay, I got to wear this and remember, Sheila, when I put out my requests. That was genius about the fact that you have to ask people that can provide.
So at a point, we are responsible for our own businesses. We're responsible for our own lives. And if we can't ask for what we want or what we need, we will never get there. Men do not have an issue with asking for what they need. We tend to go into everything asking for permission instead of expecting that we're going to get it. And when we start expecting good things to happen, expecting that we're going to get the things that we need and that people want to give us what we need, and want to help us, the ask becomes so much easier.
True. Thank you. And don't we appreciate, Sheila, also the perfect examples that this is asking, being bold, making the request, being clear, and going for it. So yes, it is possible. And so thank you very much. I love this. And what I'd like to also demonstrate to quickly is thinking about something that we want as an outcome from our time together, to get really clear about what it is that you want and what is it that you desire. And as Sheila, you said too so brilliantly, is, hey, we're responsible for this. It's our business, is our life. We're responsible. And so, I also would love to dig a little deeper just for a moment and, think for ourselves is, what are the feelings that come up if I think about a bold ask? And I challenge each of you to think, okay, I'm thinking about, hey, I'd like to get, say, maybe 2 new ideal clients, or I'd like to generate, say, well, let's just swag it, $100,000, $150,000 more in revenue, hey, maybe in the next week or so, who knows? And kind of going out there, but then doing something of, I'd like to challenge all of us to add a 0. If you're in the Women's Success Accelerator, I always challenge all of us, add a 0, and think about what could be the next level of asking. And I know for each of us, Susan, you brought this up brilliantly, is that there's a reaction to it. And then for me, and I believe for each of you, is there's a feeling, there's a sensation in our bodies that comes up. And there's then all kinds of beliefs about it, as we've discussed just a moment ago, is there's a feeling that then elicits a belief. And, you know, just noticing that. And so I'm just wondering for each of us, what comments do you have about that? And I will pause and say a big ask that I've been making as a new partnership and a new alliance that I have. And I need more help in my company. I need more assistance. I need more partnership. So figuring out what does that look like? Because in order to do a 7-figure plus deal, I need some additional support. And so being vulnerable, it brings up for me feelings of kind of feeling a little lost, feeling a little confused, feeling a little like, could I just go and take a nap for a little bit? I want to check out, So that's what it happens for me is, and I think that it's valid to really acknowledge for yourself, what are you feeling and what are those beliefs underneath it? Again, not to spend all day thinking about this, but I think it's important to just kind of pull it apart and notice for yourself your thoughts. And I'm not looking for soul sharing, we don't have to do that, but just what are your thoughts about that?
Go ahead, Sonia.
No, Susan, go ahead.
I have put together thoughts on it and changed my mind several times. And I think it's because running really fast in several directions, it sort of feels like you're running with scissors at times, and you question, are I making decisions for the right reasons? And should I step back at a moment when I can truly give this the focus of thought instead of saying this is where I'm going and pull back looking like a jerk for reaching for something and then going, oh, wait a minute, now that I've thought about it. And yet I know that I laid out in early September some thoughts of what I thought would be achievable for this fall. And this week I found myself going, wait a minute, that was 6 weeks ago. And I have an appointment this afternoon with somebody. And as I was texting somebody about why I couldn't meet them, I realized that it had been almost a month since that appointment had been attempted to be set up. And it took us 2 weeks to get to a point of selecting a date that was a week later. It is that whole thing of pushing fast to try and move forward and recognizing the fact that it just feels like this fall, everybody's schedule is so slammed that as you were trying to set those meetings and projections of when you will achieve what you've set out as your goal, there needs to be a flexible, not, I don't want to say, it's what I'm trying to think of the phrase about something about expectations are frequently preliminaries to regrets because you owned what you wanted so desperately that you are not allowing for the fact that if it delivers at a time later, you may look at it as a failure instead of the success that it becomes. And wanting to own the fact that, yes, I am reaching for and doing all I can to achieve this maxed out goal and add an extra zero behind it when it scares the bejesus out of us. And yet still recognize, what does it really require of me to do this? And I think for me, it's that meshing all of those pieces together, that as much as we try to help others to do this, when we look at it for ourselves, it's like, oh, this is why we have coaches. This is why we have masterminds. This is why we work together to keep us at that point of going, holy, okay, I got it.
So many great points, Susan. Yes. And I think plowing through this, to pull apart what you brought up, so many good points that we're going to talk about in the next couple slides. And so great points. Thank you. Thank you. It's the real world, isn't it? The real world, sisters. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to just share a few things that I've come to learn in life to address a little bit what Susan said. I've really come to working with different people who are scientists and engineers. Everything is about frequency. So all I think about is I need to set my frequency at a place where I'm in alignment and coherent, in other words, visible to the other ones that are going to be in the same plane that I'm in. That way, the likelihood that the schedules will match a little quicker or the goals will be more aligned is higher. And then I reinforce for myself, there was a saying that I came up with when I was a little girl, and my father always thought I was a little crazy, but I have repeated it to now when I'm still not a little girl, and it's the universe always provides. So I have learned to put different phrases where I can see them that keep going into my subconscious mind to reinforce things. And so the realization that I came up with earlier this year, was even though I've had a successful career by many other standards, I still haven't achieved things on a bigger scale that I'd like. And so I had been given this notebook by a client, and literally at the top of every page, it says, think big. And I decided to cut it out and put it on my screen. And I've been looking at that for the last 3 months. And I can tell you many things have changed since I did that. In one case, quote unquote, losing a particular project I was on, in which I was only doing a very small portion of what I really like to do. And I was shocked when it happened. And the person who was I was subcontracting to was shocked. I mean, because he had me booked for the next 2 years. And I looked at him and I said, don't feel bad. That means something else is on the way. And so that's what I feel. That's what I think.
Fantastic, Sonia. And so affirming you are in the right place at the right time with the right women doing the right work. So there you go. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. Frequency. Yes. And so continuing forward, so many great things that you're bringing up. And I'd like to have us also, I like visuals. So let me share a quick visual and then something I think is going to really have you remember back that going through and remembering, that sometimes perhaps, we're looking at, we've got a big ask, we've got something we want, we desire. And when we think about what's involved or who could I ask to support me or how could I ask them to support me? Thank you, Sheila, for these great questions, because I'm going to add a couple in a couple slides, but thinking about sometimes for me, it feels like a wall. It's a wall between what I got on the left-hand side and what I want on the other side. And sometimes it just feels like kind of an invisible, kind of a really weird kind of wall. And so today is all about busting through these walls. And so I want to, we're going to peel back a little bit to kind of look at what are some of the symptoms that happen if we feel like we know that we're not asking enough and we're not asking, and then how to overcome it. But I want you to think back and remember this commercial. And I'm just confirming you can see the YouTube commercial, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. Remember back.
I can put the wash on the line, feed the kids, get dressed, pass out the kisses, and get to work by 5 and 9. 'Cause I'm a woman, Ajali.
Give her Ajali, the 8-hour perfume for the 24-hour woman.
I can bring home the bacon, Ajali. Fry it up in a pan, Ajali. And never, never, never let you forget you're a man. 'Cause I'm a woman.
Ajali, the 8-hour perfume for your 24-hour woman.
Okay, you remember that video, right? Yes, yes. And, remembering back, I think this is important. And just to reiterate, as I was thinking through asking, because I think asking for some is straightforward. It's just, hey, it's 3 things, yes, no, maybe. Okay, got it when you ask someone. But I think that for me and for many, many people, many women especially, is, you know, we were programmed that I was certainly programmed as it wasn't okay to ask. It really wasn't okay to even want things, to be wanting things. It was like, you know, especially if you were brought up with siblings, you know, that they all have their wants and needs. And so it was suppressed at an early age for me. Just calm down your wants and needs and desires. And if you had a lot of big dreams and a big wants and needs, there was kind of a guilt, shame, vicious cycle. You know, it was just not okay to want a lot of things. And then that turns into, for many of us, this needless, wantless kind of thing. Well, I don't need anything and I really don't want anything. You know, I'm just like this independent woman. I can bring home the bacon and I can fry it up in a pan, you know. And then what I notice is it turns into the next step is, well, it's just easier to do it myself. Okay. Just easier to do it myself. And of course, that was back in the day. Things have changed, but I think that from the culture perspective, a lot of us still have this in our DNA, you know, that, hey, I don't want to have any needs. I don't want to have any wants. And it's just easier to do it myself. And so I want to go over just a couple symptoms that I've noticed. And then I want to get your point of view on this because I've got a very clear step process that we can use today to start building our asking acumen. Okay. So, do you notice? Here's some of the symptoms and the costs of not asking. Okay. You know these things, you may have experienced these things, but also notice for your clients. Are your clients dealing with this as well? So you can guide them to ask bigger, better, longer, and faster. Okay. Are you noticing for yourself or your clients that perhaps there's some overworking? Maybe there's undercharging or undervaluing ourselves. And this feeling that, hey, never feeling really satisfied. I'm never quite getting there. You know, if you notice for yourself or your clients that maybe there's a stuckness, the same number, the same dollar amount, the same, you know, energy level in income, if people are feeling stuck, it's that invisible wall again. If you notice that perhaps this is really powerful right here, a symptom of not asking more powerfully is, are you noticing that your clients could be late, either late paying or late delivering or late showing up to calls, or you are attracting difficult clients? These are just some symptoms of not asking bigger things. And then what then I feel like this turns into for me is a perfectionism and a worry syndrome. Our self-worth and our deservability, our deserving takes a hit. Sometimes it turns into feeling lonely and feeling tired. Then finally, not taking bigger risks and avoiding making a big ask. So I'd love to pause, get your point of view on this, and then we're going to quickly move into, hey, what are the solutions? Okay. Can you resonate with any of those things? Or maybe your clients, you can see your clients doing those kinds of things.
So I read a study years ago that talked through different scenarios of women who don't ask. And the book that it was in was called Why Women Don't Ask. And what it came down to is that if a man and a woman both graduating college with teaching degrees apply for the same job, same teaching job, the man will negotiate a higher salary and the woman will accept what she's offered. And then what happens is if he negotiates the first one, he will always negotiate from that point on. A woman, on the other hand, will get the raises that are incremental and typically don't ask. So over the course of a lifetime, the male teacher will make hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the female teacher. simply because they don't ask. And it's a great example for every other aspect in our lives, because it's also the same thing where men walk into the house and say, hey, honey, I'm going out tonight. And they assume you're staying home with the kids, where women tend to ask permission to go out and ask the husband to stay home with the children.
Sheila, fabulous contribution there, because isn't this asking avoidance or asking lack of asking strength? It's rampant in every area of our lives, until we break the cycle. And I think it can be very subtle. Even, I mean, it sounds silly, but it's a very big ramification of just asking for help, or even just asking, not even for help, just asking for, hey, let's split the household duties, not asking for them to do that for us. It's like, then we have the responsibility for the whole thing, but just subtle things like asking, and also as a coach, consultant, trusted advisor, thought leader, are we asking for the fees that are commensurate with the work we're doing? Do we feel that our fees, or do we have to justify our fees, or how often do we reduce our fees, when we're asking? Yeah,
I think the other, I'm sorry, the
No,
other
no.
part to
Perfect, yeah.
that is that we also tend to be very negative and get angry because we don't feel like we get what we deserve. But how can we be angry with somebody if we're not asking for what we want or need?
Sheila, thank you. You're leading us to our next point. And so if there's anything today that we've got so many great ideas, is I want today to be a line in the sand, to be a breaking through the wall, to have you start to dream bigger dreams. Dream bigger dreams. And dreaming bigger dreams, I say this all the time, if we have a dream we can do by ourselves, it's not a big enough dream. So dreaming bigger dreams requires bigger asks. Yes. And if we're doing everything in our home life, how do we have the capacity to do what we need to do in our businesses and our professional life, or get out and take a walk and get some exercise, or go and have, some self-care, some body work? It's like, we can increase time and vibration, but then there's also the reality of we all have 1,440 minutes in a day. So there we go. Yes. So jumping in to then look at, so symptoms, just noticing this for yourself, noticing this for your clients, because as you said, Sheila, thank you, people aren't mind readers. We have an ask. If you'll remember the very, very good Johnny Carson, remember he was a little bit of a mind reader. You remember how funny that was. What was it called? The Amazing Carmack. Do you remember that?
Carmack the Magnificent, I think it was.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And usually it was Sis Boom Ba, if you remember that funny joke. Yes. So in our ask, we know people aren't mind readers. And so today is just a new paradigm to have our asking, receiving, and giving pendulum be more balanced, and be more balanced. And so as we, kind of complete to what's next and how do we do it more powerfully, is, as you all know, there's only 3 answers when we make an ask. It's yes, no, or maybe. Hello, yes, no, or maybe. And we can renegotiate that with the other person. And so I think, as we discussed earlier in our interactive live stream, is it's just really 3 things to think about. Is, as you are asking, as I'm asking, is taking a moment, taking a breath, and saying, hey, what do I really want? What is it that I want? And who can help? What are the resources that I need? What is it that I need? Because a murky ask gives murky results. So what is it that I want? Who can help? And Sheila, you brought that up beautifully earlier. Thank you. And also, how can they help? What is it that I'm specifically asking for? How many times have we made asks and requests And the person on the other end, you can see they kind of look a little confused. They're not asking, they don't know what we're asking for. So it's really pretty simple. What do I want? Who can help? How can they help? And of course, I'm practicing now, and I encourage all of us to just start the practicing process. Today is our asking script. It's just really 4 things. Would you do this? Would you do that? Could you do this? Could you do that? Will you do this? Will you do that? Is it possible for you to do this? And so it's really not that difficult. And it takes a lot of vulnerability. And my request is, will you today start asking more and asking more for what you want? That's my sheer request. And of course, practice, 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 practice. Today is a new day to start asking more. And I just have a couple ideas that I think are really, really, little tips around this is, as we've talked about, be clear and be confident about your ask. Know that your ask will be received. People want to support you, and tell them what you need, make the ask, practice in the mirror. I love to do this. I love to look in the mirror and make the ask of myself in the mirror. And then we just become more comfortable making that ask. And for you, what's negotiable and what's not negotiable? If someone comes back and says, yes, I'll be willing to do this, but if you will do this, know what's negotiable for you. What are the terms of the ask? Okay. And so, love to pause here as we complete our time together. What are some takeaways? What are some thoughts? What's emerging for you on asking more and asking more frequently? Deb, please.
So I have a challenge that I'm facing. I have this one big client. I love them. I love working for them, and they know that. And I've never raised my rates with them in like 5 years, and it's time, right? And they even told me, we probably don't pay you as much as we should. And so first of the year, I will, but of course, my first thought was to almost apologize. Haven't raised my rates in all this time. And, don't do that. I can, and the nice thing is I can justify saying, okay, we are doing more. We're, so I got to get that little squeaky apology out of my head.
Yes.
When I was beginning to raise my rates, I think it took me like 3 or 4 years of being in business before I started doing that. Somebody said to me, you know who the people are that either are purchasing your services or are going to process your orders. Get into the habit of putting together a very professional page that actually says, just to inform you, and you do it like 2 months beforehand, just to inform you, this will be the rates of our organization moving forward. And then you can specify the specifics of the,
I love that. So now I can say to prepare you for next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And if anybody asks any questions, I always, at this point in time right now, I always say, I don't know about you, but every single vendor that I work with has also raised their rates. Everybody's experiencing the inflation. So we need to sort of be able to address that. But that just very professionally, you're putting it out there.
Thank you.
You're defining what it is, the period of time, or whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think also, Deb, you also just stated too, Sonia, that was great guidance on that, is positioning not as a justification, but merely as a statement of fact. Powerful statement of fact is, here's what we've done. Here's what the results have been. Here's this, and our fees have increased. And we look forward to continuing with you on this, So not as a justification, not as anything more than here's the results, bottom line it, and what's next, right? A future focus. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Susan, you were jumping in too.
Yeah. The other thing you might do is be able to say to them, and I'm going to do a opportunity for some to do an early pay maybe for the whole year or for 2
Oh
payments
yeah,
for
they
the year?
pay on time. I mean,
Okay.
they
No,
they
but I was going to
they are
say, if
never
you
late.
wanted to do something that you say, I will give you a 5% discount on the new price
Mhm.
if you got the money sooner, something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's another way to show them that you still respect the fact that, you know, they're facing the same inflation
Mhm.
that we all are.
Right.
And that if doing something that gave them an opportunity to pay some now and some at a different rate,
I could
the
almost do,
bonuses
I'm thinking I could do quarterly,
quarterly.
and say, okay, here is, is what it is. And, but yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I'm very fortunate on. They usually pay within like 2 days of getting an invoice. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, holy schmoly. So, and very rarely do I have to nag, and then bless them, they're like, oh my God, we are so sorry. But yeah, I'm very lucky in that, but I like that, doing a tiered pricing almost type of thing.
At least it gives you an option to
Mhm.
maybe get some money in sooner than later
Right. Mhm.
at
Mhm.
a rate that you feel is respectful
Mhm.
of their long-term
Yes.
commitment,
Yeah.
and them feeling
Mhm.
honored, where you can say everyone else is getting this price and this
Mhm.
price alone.
Right. Cool. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes, yes. And I think also that a nuance that I heard Susan even inferring is, and in part of the ask is, would you like to be billed in advance for 2024?
Mhm.
Would you like to, so because if we don't ask, the answer is
Yeah.
generally no, and
It
maybe they
might
have
be a
some
tax
funds they need
saving
to.
for this year. It could be
That's
something
it.
that allows them to
That's it.
budget something in a time
Exactly.
frame where they have money and know that there's a cut coming for something else, but they really want your services.
Right.
They have the funds
Yes.
to do it now.
Mhm.
Different ways to show them respect for what they're up against, and also give you security in what you're doing for them.
Right. Well, and it makes it easier for them if they pay,
Completely.
once a year, twice a year, whatever, as opposed to 12 times. It's saving them time.
Yes.
So it can be
See,
this is a time saving benefit.
exactly. And maybe there's a little
Ladies are so
bonus.
smart. You ladies are so
Isn't
smart.
this? Yeah. So you can see we get into the tactical part of this. Yes. So very, very good. Wow. Okay. Did we just make you all a little bit more money and have you think a little bit more about building up that asking acumen? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So
I
let's
want to share
complete.
real
Yes,
quickly, just 1 second.
exactly. Yeah. Yes. So really great. Thank you very much for all of your great sharing. We think that the real secret in our council is being powerful together. So thank you for attending, participating. It was really good, really important. And you know what's next? Every Saturday is our Saturday morning Women's Success Circle, 27 minutes of goodness. Oh my gosh. Really, really great conversation, great topics. And the number 27, as you know, in numerology means new beginnings. So come join us, 11 a.m. Eastern. And we have some incredible programs happening now. And as always, next Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, is Who's on Your Crew? We're going to really take a look at who's on your crew and then who should be at shore. Okay. Who knew we need to leave on the shore and who's part of the team? And are they rowing with you or are they rowing against you? So we're going to get into a great express program on looking at who's on our crew. How are we defining crew? And how do we have more people be on our crew? And of course, the women's coaching and consulting corporate roundtable is coming up on the 26th of October. So thank you. Come join us in our council as esteemed faculty. We will promote you, showcase you, and highlight you, and give you a platform to rise and shine. Schedule a one-on-one with me to talk about the details. So thank you, thank you, thank you. With that,
Can I just share this one thing? I
Yes.
got this a long time ago at somebody's house. And it says, I don't know much about being a millionaire, but I bet I'd be a darling at it. And I keep that next to the
Thank
parts that has to
you.
do with business. That's right, I'd be a darling at it.
Absolutely.
So for
Well,
you,
that's
because
it.
you were saying you were already going there, it's like, You'd be a darling at it.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. So let's keep asking, ladies, and ask for what we want, what we need, and the world is our oyster. So with that, thank you very much. What a beautiful, beautiful live stream today. Thank you for making it so interactive. Okay. Bye for now. Let's keep
Bye-bye.
building that ask. Okay. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.